the Uganda national flag and the Uganda People's Defense Forces flag.
Under the bright military salutes and the thunder of ceremonial drums, Uganda today witnessed yet another political relay race.
Systems and the Uganda People's Defense Air Force.
At a glamorous swearing-in ceremony attended by regional leaders, diplomats, security chiefs and jubilant supporters, President Yoweri Museveni officially handed over power to himself, extending his stay at the country's helm into a 7th term.
Receive the presidential standard flag. Instruments of power.
The event carried all the trademarks of a state spectacle. Fighter jets roared above the venue, the joint security forces marched in synchronized precision under the command of Brigadier General J.B. Asinguza, and dignitaries clapped on cue as the veteran leader once again took oath to defend the constitution he has presided over for 4 decades.
Protect and defend the constitution and observe the laws of Uganda, and that I shall promote the welfare of the people of Uganda.
And once the rituals of power were complete, it was time for the main act. Taking to the podium, the newly revested president unveiled what he described as the spirit of the new Chisanja, no more sleep for Ugandans. But before getting to the future, the president, as is often tradition, first took Ugandans on another historical lecture, revisiting liberation struggles, ideological journeys, and the familiar where we have come from narrative that has over the years been permanent.
Your Excellencies, I'm telling the grandchildren that they don't know much of the history. So on this occasion, I want to thank the people of Tanzania.
Still beyond the history lectures and applause lines, Ugandans were listening for something more immediate, answers to the anxieties of everyday life. Like children waiting for a father's promise at the dinner table, many citizens carried expectations into the inauguration ground. The president spoke of strengthening peace and security, expanding infrastructure through roads, railways, boosting wealth creation, improving service delivery in health and education, and widening markets beyond Uganda's borders into the East African community, Africa, and the global economy.
Produced by, there is crying about petrol in the world. For us, we shall go electric.
But could it be that the speech carried a strong sense of déjà vu? Most of the promises have featured prominently in previous inaugural addresses, campaign trails, and national celebrations. Roads, jobs, industrialization, markets, and prosperity have remained recurring characters in the president's speeches for years, only changing outfits every election cycle. And while the address touched nearly every familiar government talking point, some of the loudest public concerns appeared to remain carefully parked outside the ceremony gates. Human rights violations, for instance, received no direct and substantial attention, despite remaining one of the most persistent criticisms shadowing the president's nearly 40-year rule. From opposition crackdowns to allegations of enforced disappearances and restrictions on dissenting voices, many rights advocates had hoped the renewed mandate would come with a renewed commitment to democratic freedoms. Instead, that conversation remained largely absent from the national address. Corruption too received only passing mention. This despite the outgoing term being heavily stained by corruption scandals involving public officials and government institutions. For critics merely hinting at corruption without laying out concrete accountability measures felt like diagnosing a fire, while refusing to mention the smoke. On regional matters, the president spoke passionately about expanding markets across East Africa and beyond. However, with the East African community increasingly battling internal strains, trade disputes, and uneven financial contribution from partner states, observers expected a deeper reflection from the community's current regional chairperson. The persistent issue of non-tariff barriers, which continues to frustrate cross-border traders and undermine regional integration, was also left hanging in diplomatic silence.
A child stood silent, chaos in the heart, no food, no school, no song to sing, till Mama Janet came with hope on wing.
Throughout the campaign season, the president repeatedly promised Ugandans that this next term mission was to protect the gains. Now, with the inauguration complete and another 5-year term officially underway, Uganda enters a fresh chapter under an old author. Whether the new Chisanja of no more sleep for Ugandans becomes a genuine call to national productivity, or simply another slogan added to Uganda's long archive of political catchphrases, remains a story that time and ordinary Ugandans will ultimately live to tell. David Ijjo, NTV.